I would not be surprised at all if you are here expecting to see the Flemish Tarot, also known as the Bacchus Tarot, which has the figure of the god himself and a Spanish captain instead of the Pope and the Popess. Then I suppose, I am thinking, that similarity is probably not at all accidental. By the time this was published, and I would assume by the time this was created in the 20th century, the Bacchus Tarot or the Flemish Tarot would have been well known throughout the tarot world. So the cardstock is quite dense. It's one of those thin but heavy. The whole stack feels really heavy in the hand. And the individual card, though, feels quite thin but sturdy. And I think that's typical of European cardstock from my experience. I can show you. The shuffling will be... Yeah, so the shuffling will be typical of these dense and thin. They're very good for riffle shuffling. It's too large for me because this is by one of my favorite tarot illustrator ever, Luigi Scapini, who was tasked by US Games, I believe, in recreating or replacing several of the quote-unquote missing cards from the Visconti Sforza. So I have those videos on my channel somewhere. I will link it either up here or at the end of this video. I also have, if you notice, the Bacchus Tarot. The Bacchus Tarot or the Flemish Tarot is the tarot which has similarities in features to Tarot de Vieilleville. Again, I have a video on that as well. I will link it either up here or at the end of this video. In Tarot de Vieilleville, the tower is in a form of a tree. And you have the moon and the star, I believe, or is that the moon and the sun? One is an astronomer and the other one is a lady. In the moon is a lady with a spindle. And I believe for the star, you have the astronomer with his tool of astronomy. So this, you can see Luigi Scapini's style here, but the minor here is so unconventional from my eyes because I am not familiar with the European system like a lot of you. I understand the minor is based on the Rider-Waite-Smith, perhaps the Thoth, but in most cases here, as you will see, like a lot of Scapini's tarot, the minors are based on another type of system. As well as, well, the majors here, as you could see, is based on Greek mythology that's centered around this particular god, Bacchus, the god of wine here. See the Giordano Berti, and design is by Luigi and Giulia Scapini. So it's not just Luigi, but also Giulia Scapini. I can't remember if Giulia Scapini is the wife or the daughter. Somebody can tell me down below. So, and Giordano Berti, of course, is known for his reproduction of historical tarot. I believe he is an art historian. So you could see a lot of the cards here are expressed through the Greek mythology, which centered around Bacchus. So this is Justice. And I have to admit, so the Hermit is Bacchus himself. I have to admit that my Greek mythology or Roman mythology is not, it isn't part of my cultural upbringing, so they're relatively new to me. I've only started inquiring into them in my 20s. I am now 50. So this is the Wheel of Fortune. It's Force. So we can see here Force, for example. Let's have a look at what the booklet said. So this is the Italian, and then you flip it around like so, and that's the English here. So let's go to Strength here. Rhea, the great mother of the world and custodian of profound mysteries, taught Dionysus how to tame fierce animals. So that's what that's about. So let's say what the Fool is, or the Hermit. The Hermit here, it says Wheel is change, Strength's energy, Hermit's prudence. So that's interesting. The Hermit is an annotated as prudence there. Dionysus' tutor, the old faun Silenus, was extremely wise, although he was very often drunk. So that's the hermit. I don't really like the back. Actually, the back kind of drives me a little bit. So this is the fool here. So that's Dionysus' tutor, apparently, according to this. The old faun Silenus. So, and I think this is Luigi Scapini himself. I think that might be a self-portrait. The magician. So let's have a look at magician. Oh, lady bird. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on. Sorry about that. Where was I? The magician. Hermes, the god of magic, removed little Dionysus from the flames and placed him under Zeus, under Zeus's protection. And thereafter he saved him many times from Hera's fury. So that's Dionysus as a baby. That's Hermes, the god of magic, removed little Dionysus from the flames and placed him under Zeus's protection. It doesn't say whether this is a self-portrait of Scapini. Maybe that's a portrait of Giordano Berti. It does look a bit like him, but yeah, but it doesn't say here. So it'll be quite interesting to see who else is depicted in this deck. So yeah, so the back, I really dislike the back, and the borders I thought could be better designed because this purple is very, I don't know, it's a bit, the color just doesn't seem to work with the artwork, and I wish it's a different color. And of course the two languages here isn't ideal visually, aesthetically, but this is an Italian deck, and so I'm grateful that they have included English at all, so I'm not going to complain. So I'm wondering if this is Giulia Scapini. So, you know, I suspect there's Giulia Scapini, Giordano Berti, and Luigi himself. Now I wonder where Luigi, do you think Luigi is Bacchus? So this is the devil. Let's check out. Yeah, I don't know which character Luigi Scapini would have been, because he has this tendency to paint himself in his artwork, all the people that he knows. Anybody know of this? Please let me know down below. So for the moment, I'm just going to flip through the images. So each of this would have been these images should be stories around the god of wine himself. This reminds me very much of the Pieta statue with Mary cradling the body of Jesus. So let's have a look at the moon. If that's adopted from an older story, then you know, my basic knowledge, my base knowledge is, I grew up Catholic. So the moon. Ampelo, Dionysus' young friend, was killed by the sacred bull of the lunar goddess Artemis, but he was born again as a grapevine. So there have been argument that a lot of Christian stories are adaptation of Greek and Roman mythology, and judging from how ideas are transmitted across history and across socio-political settings, I'm not at all surprised that there are elements of previous mythologies in new religions being planted into a country. This is before the separation of church and state, of course, where the religion of the people of a country usually follows whatever the king or queen, whatever their persuasion, the people follows. That's the world. And now we will enter the minors, and you will see what I mean. that's 2 of bâton, 3 of bâton, bastoni, 4 of bâton, 5 of bâton, 6 of bâton, 7 of bâton, 8 of bâton. I'm going to stop calling it. You can see here, there's all these stories of the Knave of Batons. I believe that's now as we get into the minors, it is a story of wine throughout the world. So I think that's the flag of Brazil. Knight. So from the mythology of the god of wine himself, we go into wine all over the world. This is the Queen of Baton in Japan. I wonder what the story is there. Let's have a look. The Queen of Wands' friend, a very beautiful geisha in a pensive mood, is sitting on an exquisite cushion. So it stands for a mysterious woman who intelligent but pleasant, polite but detached, sincere but tactful. So the minor I find quite difficult because I think most of the times I've found a deck to be quite compelling in their majors, and then the minors just stretching it a bit. A political tone that is no longer in sync with our current time there, and so that's a little bit problematic in my opinion. And so when the majors are tied to mythology and felt solid because the stories are related to the major arcana, the minors are almost just various depictions of vineyards with no real so let's say this one here, 2 of Cups. The girl's cup is full of water. The young man's cup is full of wine. Hermes, Cadicius staff can be seen between them. So it's basically just describing the picture and the interpretation of the cards, which isn't quite how I see these minors, not anymore. So common goals, union, harmony, publicity, messages. So it's nothing in particular to do with Dionysus. It's everything to do with simply the story of wine around the world. So I'm going to quickly just let you see the illustrations there. It is not even time specific, so this is obviously modern time. It looks like it's more modern than, say, this period, or maybe not like that period. I mean, that's that's a couple of thousand, well, no, not really, maybe about 1,000 years apart, these two scenes. So 5 of Cups, 6 of Cups. So what does this say? 6 of Cups. Reminiscence. Children and young persons pick the grapes, press them with their feet, and then merrily drink the new wine. Happy memories, wishes that come true, favors from friends or relations. So you get the sense of the minors there. Like his medieval Scapini Tarot, there's a lot of sceneries, there's a lot of goings on in the minors, and it's very very friendly to intuitive reading, I suppose. Or what I would, okay, I'm not going to use the term intuitive because it seems to mean a lot of things to a lot of people. Reading just the pictures, basically. Just very, like this one here, you can tell a lot of stories just watching this. The Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups, messenger. On top of the cliff, an old man astride a donkey zips wine from a cup. An eccentric person brings good news or the arrival of a distant relative. So it's a very fortune-telling oriented very much divination, if you consult the booklet. If not, it could be a very fun illustrations and images to simply take from the images, simply read the images. For some reason, I'm thinking this is Scapini. Yeah, I'm not sure. So it's lush, it's rich, and you can really mine a lot of stories from the images. Very scenic. There's a lot of scenery, like a lot of things are happening with his Romeo and Juliet tarot as well. And his medieval Scapini, especially, the minors are very, very animated, extremely animated. So if you are the sort to read the images only without really necessarily digging into the symbolism or the stories behind the images on the cards, these minors can provide a lot of richness. However, for me, with the majors are the stories behind the images on the cards, express each of those cards. The minors sort of shift gear a bit into just the images, and so for me that's a bit disjointed, so I can't use them together. I tend to either just use the majors or just use the minors because of such rich happenings there. I just absolutely adore his illustrations. He's so animated. He's so expressive. A lot of movements, and I mean, I can almost see these images as if they're moving in my head. So now I could have sworn this is another. You can tell when it's somebody's actual face. So he's obviously a very good artist, because I've seen a lot of tarot artists who are not able to paint faces, and you can tell they try to get away with it by not painting the faces. And you see the human forms, but the faces are a bit obscured or a bit... And so you can tell here that Scapini really knows how to portray the faces. It means that his technical ability is there. 3 of coins. 4 of coins. 5 of coins. And I suppose you sense the Rider-Waite Smith take here. 6 of coins. 7 of coins. I could have sworn that's a real person as well. So he's a very good painter, very good artist, illustrator. This is potentially the 2 of them. Maybe that's Giulia and Luigi. For me, illustrators are art in service of something else. They illustrate. They are art in service of something else. Art pieces, on the other hand, they are not in service of anybody other than to service themselves. So art is for art's sake. In my opinion, illustrations working to prop others. They simply illustrate. They don't have the luxury of expressing themselves. They have to express either stories or ideas. Queen of Coins and King of Coins. That's it. See you later. Bye.